Hey everyone, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home. Thanks for coming back to the channel today for this 4K review. As you know from the title of the video, we're taking a look at Home Alone on 4K Ultra HD. So in this review, we'll talk about the video quality on the upgrade, we'll talk about the audio, some of the special features and packaging, but I'm also going to talk about why this is a monumental release in the history of physical media and sort of the significance of Home Alone on 4K and why it's the last of its kind. So jumping right in for the visuals, Home Alone on 4K, it's a bit of an interesting title because this is the 30th anniversary, and back in 2015 there was a 25th anniversary that 20th Century Fox put out, and that was supposed to have a 4K transfer as well on the Blu-ray. Now, I confirmed that this 4K is a brand new 4K transfer, and so they did not use the 4K transfer from 2015. So what that means is on this disc, you're getting a fresh 4K transfer, completely reworked and redone by the folks at 20th Century Fox. It was also supervised by the director, Chris Columbus, and it has obviously new HDR color grading. The Blu-ray that's included with this release is also the new 4K transfer pared down to 1080p. It is not the same Blu-ray that previously came with the 2015 release. So both of these are actually new and improved 4K transfers. And I have to say that it looks really, really clean. It looks a lot better than that 2015 Blu-ray, which was still an impressive improvement over the previous Blu-ray. So Home Alone's had a few Blu-ray releases. The 2015 remastered version was good, but if that was good, then this is much better. Detail here is drastically improved, and the biggest improvement is really the HDR. The way that this was color graded makes things pop. It's a Christmas movie, so you obviously got lots of bright colors, but also lots of white, lots of snow, lots of bright reds and greens. Things that HDR just thrives on is bright white colors, bright reds, bright greens, things like that, yellows. And so it really looks incredible, and the coloring on it is what I was happiest about. Detail is also noticeably improved even over the previous 4K transfer. You can see there was a little bit more work done here. Having the director involved, I'm sure, helped. The 20th Century Fox team does a great job on their 4K transfers, which I'll talk about at the end of the video, a little bit about that. But you can clearly see where there's an upgrade in detail over the Blu-ray. There's a nice uptick in, facial features and just fine details. The edges are much more refined. There's still a nice grain structure as well. Actually, I think it's a little bit better than the previous one, which looks like maybe it had a little bit of DNR or some sort of noise reduction done to it. It looked a little bit flat, and this 4K release looks like it has a little bit more grain and a little bit more structure, and definitely has brighter colors and a much better color range than the previous Blu-ray. So overall, visually, I'm really happy with this. Home Alone was on Disney Plus for a short time in 4K, and then they pulled it off, and we'll see if it comes back on. But I did watch it back when I was reviewing Disney Plus on 4K, and this is a much better experience than the stream. The colors are better. It is more detailed, obviously not being a streaming quality, compressed. It's a really, really nice disc, and 20th Century Fox has done a really nice job with the visuals here, the HDR. It's definitely a faithful adaptation on 4K of Home Alone, and it's the way the movie should look, and it's the best it's ever looked. So for that reason, I do recommend upgrading from a visual standpoint. Now, audio-wise, there was no extra work done here. It's a DTS HD 5.1, much like Hocus Pocus. There's no Atmos added here. It's a very good track. It's a solid track. Music and sound effects are fairly well pronounced, and the surround is used fairly well throughout the entire presentation, but you're not getting anything new from Atmos, so there's no upgrade from an audio standpoint. Now, the same can be said for special features and basically the packaging as well. Essentially the same packaging with the slipcover here. We've got the case on the inside. It looks very similar to the previously released editions. Comes with the digital code, and then that new 4K Blu-ray and the new standard Blu-ray with the new scan. But all the special features on here have been ported over from the 25th anniversary release. And so really what you're upgrading here is purely the visuals, but I would say it's worth it for that alone. If you like Home Alone and you really enjoy the movie, it's a classic, it's a great family movie. If you want it the best that it's ever looked, and you want a much improved color range and brighter colors in a movie that just pops off the screen, Home Alone is a great choice for you. I would upgrade it for the visuals. I would find it, I think it's going to be at a fairly good price point. Again, like Hocus Pocus, it will fall into that $13, $14 price range. And at that price point, I think it's a great pickup. If you haven't picked up the previously remastered Blu-ray, or even if you have and you're not upgrading to 4K yet, the Blu-ray that's included here is also much improved over the previous one because it does have the new 4K scan, and the color grading, although not HDR level, is better than the previous one. So maybe even if you're just a 1080p Blu-ray collector and you haven't upgraded to 4K yet, this could be an interesting title to pick up and then future-proof yourself with the 4K disc. So in the future, when you do upgrade to 4K, you already have it. But it's a really good presentation all around, and I would recommend upgrading. Now, the interesting thing I want to talk about with Home Alone here is that this is the last 4K release that was put out by 20th Century Fox, and it is the last one that the team at 20th Century Fox did work on and will ever work on because they're now a part of Disney. So Home Alone was completely done, and the transfer was done at Fox before the acquisition, and so it was a different team even than the team that worked on Hocus Pocus over at Disney. So they had two different teams working on these transfers, and so in that way it's kind of significant because you'll never see a 4K release that just has the 20th Century Fox logo on it. You'll never see, or you won't see for a very long time, more Fox catalog titles coming to 4K, especially live action stuff like Home Alone from Disney or Fox, because as we know, they're not focusing on them. So it's kind of like a milestone moment, a sad one, but this is the last 20th Century Fox 4K release that we will ever get. And I want to give them a shout out because before they were acquired, they were doing absolutely incredible work and putting out so many great 4K titles. I just looked through my collection. I have 30 4K movies just from Fox. And I mean, the resume that they have, The Martian, The Revenant, Logan, Alien, Predator, so many great movies. They have such a great catalog, and those are just a few transfers. But they've been early adopters of 4K when The Revenant was one of the earliest 4K discs, and it's still a reference quality disc. So the team over there does incredible work, and unfortunately they basically no longer exist. They were absorbed by Disney, and now Disney handles all the transfers. But their legacy lives on in all those other great Fox titles that are out there, and Home Alone certainly goes to prove that that Fox team was something special and did a really good job on 4K. Also just want to give them a shout out because they're one of the few studios that actually donated to the project I work on, donating movies to the Navy so we can put DVD and Blu-ray libraries on US Navy ships so they have something to watch while they're deployed. Fox gave us literally thousands of discs, pallets full of discs to donate. I don't know if we're going to get that same level of support now that they're with Disney, but I want to give a shout out to the people at Fox, the PR teams, the marketing teams, the physical media teams, the people who work on these transfers, audio, visuals. It was a really solid team, and I think the physical media community as a whole is going to miss that level of detail and care for physical media, but at least they got a great send-off with Home Alone here on 4K. It's a very nice transfer and one that I do recommend picking up. So that's it for the review. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, I recommend it. I'll leave a link down in the description so you can pick up Home Alone 4K. Remember, even if you just have the previous Blu-ray, this is a better Blu-ray disc as well as a better 4K disc. So you could have, even without 4K, have a reason to upgrade here. Make sure you're subscribed, follow me on Instagram, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Don't take this. I hope this wasn't too sad a video. I didn't want to get too like, oh, physical media is dying. This is the last Fox title ever. It's just the truth. But remember, those people at Fox will move on to other great things, and maybe they'll go work at companies like Warner Brothers, Universal, Sony, Lionsgate, Arrow Video, Shout Factory, Criterion, any of the other great companies out there that are continuing to support physical media every day. So hopefully we see that, and physical media continues and stays strong. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.